Okay, we're going to get started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. So before we get started in this virtual environment, I would just like to remind you to please keep yourself on mute during the event, unless you're asking a question. It's also important to note that we are recording this event and we are also streaming on Facebook Live. So my name is Sam Onyalo. I'm one of the 5 core team members of the Ottawa Young Black Professionals. If this is your first time joining us, let me introduce our network and the rest of our team. So YBP is a network organization focused on, 1, providing young Black professionals with access to mentorship, coaching, and knowledge sharing opportunities. 2, encouraging young Black professionals to lead, inspire, create opportunities for others in their respective fields. And 3, supporting ideas and initiatives that position our members and the community for success. Now, while there will be an emphasis to support and address issues facing young Black professionals, membership is open to all Black professionals. We're an open group that welcomes participation and perspectives from the greater community. So now, okay, I know I said I was going to introduce the rest of the team. Before we go there, it's important that we take time to acknowledge that this event is being streamed from Ottawa, which is located on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. And we would like to express our respect to all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people and recognize their presence as the first people of this land. And if you're joining us from somewhere else, please feel free to do your own land acknowledgement at this time. Cool. Okay. So the other thing we want to recognize is that we are still in the midst of the United Nations Decade for People of African Descent, which started in 2015 and ends in 2 years, so 2024. This decade is grounded by 3 pillars: recognition, justice, and development. And with respect to Canada 42, recommendations on how to promote the significant contributions made by people of African descent to Canada, secure concrete measures to enable our full inclusion in Canadian society, and dismantle anti-Black racism in all its forms. And if you're here, this event is about how to do all of those things and more. Also, a quick note, I don't know if you've heard about the events that happened in Buffalo. We also want to take time to acknowledge the lives lost in that violent, premeditated attack on predominantly Black community. We know about hearing these acts of violence can trigger physical and emotional responses. And even though the harm didn't take place in our own lives or even in Canada, we do encourage you to take care of your mental health and well-being and reach out to your village or access mental health support within your community. And so we're going to post some mental health resources in the chat shared with us by the Black Employees Matter Network at Health Canada. So shout out to them. And we have also included a link to the Black Therapist list. So big shout out to them too. Okay, so let's get into the team introductions. At this time, I'd like the rest of the team to introduce themselves. So we're going to have Newman and then Natalie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Newman. I am with YBP. I'm the marketing coordinator. So I'm just turn on my camera. So on my end, I help YPP to spread their initiatives, whatever goal they're trying to project or create projects. I'm typically their guy. I create their posts and I discuss with them how everything is going to be marketed and targeted for whatever they have going on next or whatever they want to do in the future. Nice to meet you guys, and I am excited for this event.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Tate, another one of those executive members of the YBP team. And so what do I do here? I don't know. get conversations started, try to get, everything organized, try to strategize about what we think, our members want to see and be involved in and hear about. So that's part of what I do. I also put out the what's popping in the city. So if you guys ever have any requests or events that you want to share with us, info@ottawaybp.com is where you can do that. And if you have any, comments about it, please share. I'd like to know how we can improve. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Newman and Natalie. So just a quick note, so Keisha Charles and Danielle Lachance are other two executive members. They're both away right now, indisposed, so they can't be attending this evening, but big shout out to them. Okay, so before we jump into the event, normally we just jump in, but we do want to just give a quick little update because we've been gone for a little while. So we want to talk about basically our future events. So we've been having a lot of internal discussions about what our group should be doing to help the Black community progress further. Our discussions stemmed from, one, the realizations like the disproportionate negative impact of the pandemic on the Black community, as compared to other communities, and census data that shows that the lower rates of unemployment and median wages in our community, even though we're more likely to hold a bachelor's degree or higher when compared to other groups. And so we really wanted to focus our efforts addressing those things. And so to that end, we're planning a year of events and interviews that will be centered on the theme of building legacy. And so we want to focus on helping to build a community that is resilient and that thrives, not just survives. Our objectives for every event will be to come away with 3 outcomes. What are the issues according to our guests? What future should we aspire to? And 3, most importantly, what concrete action items, can we take to get there? So there are so many people in our community, like you, our guests, who are doing amazing work, and we want to amplify you and support you by discussing the problems in our community, but also the solutions to them, so we can all collaborate together and work together to build a future that we're all striving for and that we all want. And so now I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to give you a little preview of that. Today, we are profiling the Brotherhood Coalition. It's a super dope group of Black men that are launching this year with the aim of improving the legacy of Black men. So Natalie, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Sam, for that introduction. All right, like Sam said, we have some really amazing guests that we are going to be profiling today. So first we have Ada Agama. Ada is of Nigerian descent and was born in New York, New York. He has a bachelor's degree in biology at Carleton University, and he is currently working in the private sector as an information security specialist. Ada, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Next, we have Chuks Onwachi. Chuks is also of Nigerian descent and was born in Edmonton, Alberta. He has a bachelor's degree in economics from Carleton University and is currently working in the Federal Public Service as a policy analyst with the Supporting Black Canadian Communities Initiative at Employment and Social Development Canada. Chuks.
Hey, how's everyone? Oh, thanks.
Now over to Travis Dugan. Travis is of Jamaican and Trinidadian descent and was born in Montreal. He completed high school in Ottawa and attended Carleton University, where he studied political science and sociology. He has worked for private corporations and the Federal Public Service while always continuing his pursuit of entrepreneurship. Travis, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And finally, please welcome Marco Theodore. Marco is a highly motivated Haitian entrepreneur from Ottawa. He attended Algonquin College for business accounting and has used that background to assist small businesses over the last 10 years. Marco has a strong passion for real estate investing, which I can definitely, I feel like we're akin in that respect, to which he launched his company Billionera that highlights the importance of financial literacy and real estate. So Marco, welcome.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
All right, there you have it. This my friends, is the Brotherhood Coalition. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm really excited to get into this conversation. And so for those of you on Zoom, if you do have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat and we will get to it as we're asking the questions. So we're going to start this conversation, and we're going to start with you, Chooks. Just please tell us, what exactly is the Brotherhood Coalition?
It's a good question. Actually, the Brotherhood Coalition is an idea that actually started around 2 years ago. It's actually an organization that we created by Black men and for Black men, with the vision of bringing us together to take meaningful and actionable steps to improve our social and economic outcomes, regardless of the barriers and limitations that we're facing. So the coalition is actually, we're working together to create opportunities for Black men to come and focus on building generational wealth, developing personal and professional relationships, sharing knowledge, expertise, skills, but most importantly, we are creating this network of brothers who recognize that we're more powerful and more effective if we work as one to kind of grow, develop, learn, and achieve individual, but also collective goals. So some of the activities that we actually going to be focusing on, and you touched on it, investing in real estate. We're going to look at startups. We're going to look at investing in restaurants, having bonds, stocks, other business ventures. We're also going to be promoting entrepreneurship ideas, seeking learning and training opportunities from a professional and personal development. We're going to be networking, sharing knowledge, information, expertise, and skills. We're also going to be listening to individual problems and then finding collective solutions together. And we'll also be giving transparent and critical but respectful feedback to all members when we're dealing with certain particular issues. We're also going to be an organization of men that kind of gives back to our community in a way that will support, encourage, and aspire the next generation to kind of achieve beyond their expectations. We want to definitely play a role in their success. So we really need men who are willing to bring and share their own uniqueness, their own thoughts and qualities and skills to the table. Also, one of the most important things is that we're going to be an organization that kind of taps into the wealth of knowledge and experience of our elders who are also Black men. They have so much to give in terms of what they can provide to our generation in terms of advice. So we want to be able to build a network for them in an organization so that we can kind of lean into their experiences and learn from them so we can kind of better inform our actions as we move forward. Recognizing, in general, we recognize there are many negative perceptions about, Black men and boys, and which I feel, from my perspective is very complicated and based on a variety of stereotypes. But I feel like these perceptions are at times held unconsciously within our education system, healthcare, the media, police, which obviously inherently fuel discriminatory practices and barriers that are seen within our society. But regardless of these significant issues that we face, I want this group to kind of take action to fight those perceptions and stereotypes so we can begin writing our own story about who we are as Black men. And so it really only starts as an idea, and hopefully this will kind of resonate with certain Black men who are looking to support, but also be supported by a community of brothers. So that is essentially the Brotherhood Coalition in the grand nearest sense.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Travis, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just to add, we wanted to really, as far as when we were talking about what we wanted the Brotherhood Coalition to be about, community service was a big pillar. For others, it was the financial aspect of it. But I think we can say that overall, the biggest piece is legacy. What we want to, all the actions that we're going to partake in will bring a legacy for the Black men, the Black people that come after us. So the Brotherhood Coalition is just the start of building a legacy, and that's how we feel we can change the perception of Black men. And we want to start here in Ottawa, but we do want this to be worldwide.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, on to our next question. So what inspired you to start the Brotherhood Coalition? Now, you guys touched on a lot of things, but what is it exactly that inspired you to start and like commence this movement for everybody to be informed about and just learn about?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and I'll take that one as well, and kind of give it some context. Like for me, it really started. I have a very close friend group. We're about 10 or 11 of us, all Black men, and we grew up in Ottawa, most of us, and we grew up together. We all supported each other. We talked about we talked about professional experiences, we talked sports, obviously, we talked about relationships, we talked about family stuff, you name it, we kind of talked about it. We're very transparent about those types of information. So when George Floyd, the situation with George Floyd happened, his murder happened, we were all of us, we were kind of understandably really all shook, not understanding our thought process, where we should go, how we should come, like feel about this particular issue that just happened. But at the same time, we understood the situation, because we knew that like that could have easily been one of us, or that could have easily been our son, or whatever the case may be. So for me, all of a sudden, I started seeing all these events popping up, sessions and workshops about anti-Black racism, how it manifests in the States, but obviously it's here in Canada as well. And just in terms of some of the stats, I started looking into this, what our compilation of the Black population is like. It's one of the fastest growing demographics in Canada. It's one of the youngest cohorts as well. And over the last 20 years, the Black population has doubled to like 1.2 million. So that's a lot. That's a lot of people. But with this great population that we have, it continues to be negatively affected by a system of exclusion, discrimination, anti-Black racism, which has kind of created these social and economic inequalities that we feel as in Canada. But as a Black man, but who is a father, like I have a son, it was a huge kind of like wake up call for me, because I had to like really sit down and have an honest conversation with my son, who was around 5 at the time, about why he lives in a world where a police officer can kneel on the neck of a Black man to the point of death. And literally it was murder. And it was like, to me, it was one of the most vivid displays of power over another person. And I started to question myself. I was like, is this how powerless we truly are? Like, is this how they see us as Black men? I have dreams, I have aspirations, I have goals, but can I actually attain those goals within a society that is filled with such hate? And honestly, I had to I had to sit there and have a conversation with my son, and I didn't know what type of message I should give to him. I didn't know what I could pass down in terms of the issues that we're facing as Black men. He essentially is my legacy, and I didn't have those answers. Like, I had no idea, and I still really don't. But I knew, I couldn't just sit around on the sidelines and wait for these answers to come. Like, I had to, like, if we wanted to see the change, then I had to take a risk. Like, I needed to find the people, bring people together to start finding like solutions to questions like, what is the current situation of Black males in Canada? What are some of the barriers we're facing as Black males on a day-to-day basis? Like, how can I, as an individual, kind of encourage more togetherness, more cohesion between Black men? And one of the most important things is, like, what actions can we actually take right now, like to kind of improve our outcomes, the outcomes for us, but also for the next generation of Black men. So in my opinion, I believe we as Black men have all the necessary tools. We have all the ideas, we have all the experience, we have all the networks needed to affect our change for ourselves and others. But we just have to be willing to kind of work together. And yes, obviously, I completely agree that, we definitely have personal needs that need to be satisfied and met, but we need to have a group of brothers who are focused on building up the next man and the next generation, right? We need to have a group of brothers that can really listen and hear different perspectives and be willing to take actions together to kind of address those challenges that we're facing. We really need a group of brothers that we can socialize with, we can learn from, but also we can be held accountable to. And one of the most important is that we need to have a group of brothers that we can trust and be vulnerable with, so that we can start tackling some of the real prevailing issues that we're feeling, whether they be personal or professional. So I wanted this to be this group. I wanted to kind of start cultivating those relationships for our community. And just in general, like I know, like throughout my life, I felt like God has really kind of put, in my view, some great examples of Black men who are leaders, mentors, family friends, colleagues. So I'm looking to kind of bring all these people together so that we can start focusing on taking, some real good actions together. So that essentially is the reason what kind of inspired me to kind of create the Brotherhood in its general sense.
Awesome. Yeah. This honestly ties into our next question, because I understand your core values are trust, respect, education, teamwork, unity, all those crazy good things that Black men need. How did you come up with those? And what do they mean to you personally?
Yeah, so, those pillars, when it comes to bringing Black men together, I'd like to see Black men being involved or being courted by, let's say, the municipal elections that's happening soon, the Ontario elections that's happening very soon. I listen to a lot of radio, and unfortunately, they do not talk about Black issues. They definitely do not talk about Black men issues. They're not concerned about it. So I believe that with the Brotherhood Coalition, we would like to, use leverage, use that leverage, whether it's politically, whether it's with somebody in the media, maybe a Black man in the media, whatever leverage we have, whatever we can accumulate from our networking to pursue our goals where we live here in Ottawa. If we can get Black men here in Ottawa to think differently when it comes to power, and how that works, and how you can uplift another Black man, and that will trickle down to you. And if we can kind of teach that to every Black man and go, kind of block by block, and if we can make a difference here in our city, I believe that that could be a great thing. So when it comes to honesty and trust, those are pillars for just life in general. Anytime I interact with anybody, there has to be honesty, there has to be trust. And I think when you're bringing Black men together, you need that. That's a must. We need to trust each other, and we need to respect each other, because there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of ideas, and if you're a humbled person who has had life experience, and you have a yearning for learning. That's why the education piece, which is our third pillar, is very important, to learn about yourself as a Black man in this North American environment, to learn about others, whether it's your fellow Black man or how you interact with other ethnic groups, and how that informs yourself. It's good to do that self-discovery. And then once you do that, you start to realize about the legacy you're leaving. All right. So the education piece, the third piece, is very important. You also have teamwork. We found that when we started this group, we found that if one person did really well in life, there's still limiting factors because they're just one person, right? You could only, you have a wheelhouse and that's about it. But if you're able to have a network of people in different areas, right? Whether it's blue collar, whether it's white collar, I think that would be, that would be beneficial, whether or not you feel you're successful. That sense of teamwork, it goes hand in hand with legacy. You cannot build a legacy alone. And I think that's what we realized with George Floyd situation. It's, if I do well in life, it doesn't really guarantee safety and security for my offsprings. I have to shape the world around me, shape the world around them. So that's only done with teamwork, because it's a big world out there. So, and lastly, we have unity, right? So, I think we went through a phase where, as Black people, we may have not liked ourselves, or we had to, there was the self-hatred thing that we went through. But I think that right now, we're starting to unite, especially post-pandemic. I believe we're starting to unite and, finding common ground as Black men, right? We're not liberal, we're not conservative. We're simply Black men finding common ground and building things with our hands, building things through pushing paper, and doing what we need to do. We want to be a big tent, and unify Black men. There's street men, there's men who do 9 to 5s, and we'd like to inform them both that we are all Black men, and that we need to, Obama had a famous line where he saw a Black guy and he said, by the grace of God, there go I, and that means that I have skin in the game when it comes to another Black man, because he basically represents me on the streets. So that's where the unity comes in, and I believe those 5 pillars are what's necessary, to be like-minded and to be part of the Brotherhood Coalition.
Yeah, and I just to add on to that, and like I think you at the tail end of what you were saying, Travis, is these are they're core values that we definitely want people to kind of emulate, recognizing that this is the group that if you want to be part of this group, you have to abide by these types of values that we kind of go by, and these are just regular values that obviously we should be pushing forward within society. So the trust and respect, education, teamwork, unity, those are all valuable. So we definitely want to encourage people, if they're definitely attracted to us, our organization, that we kind of live by these core values when coming. Yeah.
I really like those core values, and the fact that you guys have like a structure in terms of a kind of code of conduct that people would need to subscribe to. coming in. So this is what we're about. These are the things that we're trying to achieve together. And you need to kind of be on board with that. And so I really appreciate that. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about is that you mentioned that you want to address both socio-economic and social circumstances of Black men. So can you speak, and you touched on it a bit earlier, but can you speak to some of the gaps that you're seeing, specific gaps you're seeing, and how you plan to address them?
Yeah, I'd love to. I think overall, I'd love to address it. I think what I love most about is address how we are going to face these issues, as opposed to just look at them and speak within each other on how they affect us. And that's what our group is all about. We're doing more than just addressing the issues. We are providing a space. We are sharing knowledge. We are providing ways to beat these unfortunate disadvantages, right? When we're talking about disadvantages, is both social and economical disadvantages. The primary goal for us with this Black Brotherhood Coalition is to eliminate doubt and insecurities to the social bonding and through affirmation. Our community is very much divided. Our community is different, but what comes together is the key components and the fundamentals principles that we really, really strive for and that connect us all together. And these fundamental principles can be found with our values, our core values. And I think Travis did an amazing job just highlighting the importance of these core values. Another thing that we want to do, and Trix talked about it too, is eliminate all assumed financial crutches through financial education, through financial planning, creating wealth, creating generational wealth, by creating goals, knowing how to attain these short terms, medium terms, or long-term goals. And I think by getting together, I know by getting together and using that platform to let our voice be heard, whether the issue may be social in the terms of the perspective that the world has for the Black man, or it could be financial, which is the disadvantages of even in the last 50 years, not being able to get loans, not having the right education, not having the right fundamentals. Those are what we are tackling directly. And I think as well as some of the things, a lot of us, these economical or social crutches were unwillingly passed down to us through miseducation and the lack of resources, and as well as the social perspective. So what we're doing is directly attacking those. Those are the things that we're addressing. And we're doing it together, which is the most important part.
I've been trying to put myself on mute so I don't make noise when you're talking. It's just not working for me. I keep forgetting to turn it off. But I like what you're saying, because even if you look, Statistics Canada has been doing a lot more data analysis and collection of data on Black communities and Black populations. And one of the things that they've been noticing is that, there's been a kind of decline in terms of like median wages for Black men, employment or unemployment. These things are taking the wrong turn. And then they're also seeing with our children, like the financial limitations within the family structure that's there is like a predominant factor in terms of what's happening in terms of their education. And, along with a lot of other things, of course, but I'm glad you guys are taking that approach through the values that you're setting, and through how you plan to address some of the issues and the gaps that you're seeing. But before this event, before we started getting together to discuss this event, I remember the Brotherhood Coalition talking about the 100 Strong framework. So I'd really like to hear more about that.
Actually, yeah, I can speak to more about that. So, the 100 Strong Foundation is an organization centered around a framework with a goal in mind to build wealth through long-term investing. So, centers around finding like-minded individuals. We picked a specific number of 100 because it just signifies strength that way. So 100 individuals that would essentially pool their resources, their funds together on a monthly basis if they choose to do it in that manner, to invest over time. And time usually could be over a 5-year span, 10-year span. You can invest in, they could decide on the strategies they want to invest in. So it could be through real estate, pooling their funds to acquire real estate that they could then develop and resell or rehab and rent it out. Or it could be through investing through buying securities, bonds, exchange traded funds and stocks that way. So the end goal being of the 100 Strong Foundation being that after a specific amount of time, be it let's say a decade, when the investments begin to produce, sizable returns, the dividends would then be shared amongst those 100 strong that contributed and brought it to that level of let's say capital. And the end goal being they would then take their returns and continue to build that way, pass on the skills that they've learned to other individuals within their communities or that their colleagues, their social circles, and, in essence, pay it forward that way. So essentially to then speak to the other part of the question, how does it relate to the Brotherhood Coalition? The Brotherhood Coalition was established to improve the economic and social outcomes of Black men through our collective power. So as I mentioned earlier, 100 of us, coming together, pooling our resources, that's where we find our strength these days, because whether we like it or not, today, individually as a Black man, there are so many challenges facing us, be it a lack of resources, a lack of network, lack of net worth, right? But when we come together, we have individuals within our circles that have, that our strengths could be, oh, this person has capital, or this person has access to resources, or this person has access to, expertise that we need together to pull everything together to achieve these goals that we're looking for. So the 100 Strong Foundation would be essentially a manifestation, a practical manifestation of that 100 Strong Foundation, pretty much.
And I'll jump into and this is actually something that was actually passed down to us. I also wanted to let you know, because we were expressed to this kind of framework by some colleagues that we were working with previously. So we wanted to give shout out to them, but we're just adopting it for our needs, recognizing that it's already kind of the idea has already been kind of floated out there. But we want to be able to grab it, take it, and use it and run with it within the vision of establishing this organization, and also establishing supports and financial supports for Black men in this city. So I also wanted to mention that too as well.
Great. This practical manifestation you guys are talking about relates to obviously the legacy that you guys are building. So for my question, why do you think legacy as it relates to Black men is such an important conversation to be having especially right now? I know we mentioned like the George Floyd event, and also what is the legacy you're aiming for to build through the Brotherhood Coalition?
I can continue to touch on that, and Chooks and the rest of and Travis and Marco, please jump in and add in. I mean, legacy is important because personally, and I'm sure many of you will agree, it's an opportunity for us, because it's an opportunity for us to write the next chapter in the history books. Essentially, this is our turn to do what we can to rise to prominence, to change the narrative, to change the stereotypes that we always face in society, and meet the challenges that we face in our daily lives head on. Legacy is important because it's insidious how it comes to fruition, and it only does so through deliberate action. So by forming the Brotherhood Coalition, we plant the seed that will grow or act as the catalyst for the chain reaction that will lead to us establishing this legacy of the Brotherhood Coalition being a forum, an organization, or a Y Combinator, if you see it that way, for young Black men, young Black professionals that are capable and willing, that want to achieve, that want to achieve and leave their mark in society, if you can put it that way. And I think, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the legacy we also aim to achieve is to hope I'm not repeating myself, but the legacy we aim to establish with TBC is to exactly as I mentioned, to become the foremost organization that's known to foster and provide the opportunity for young Black men to reach their full potential, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, and like obviously, we like historically, the media has definitely painted a negative picture, when they're associating Black men, particularly to violence, crime, poverty, and as Ada was mentioning, these stereotypes are then kind of inherited and passed down to younger generations of Black boys, and then passed down to the next generation, and passed down to the next generation, and they're outdated, they're not true. We have so, like, the depth of the Black man is, and the role of the Black man is so unique. We're, just to name a few, like, we're fathers, we're husbands, we're mentors, we're professionals, we're entrepreneurs, we're also community leaders. So this is the legacy that we want to be able to pass down. And as Ada was talking about, and for the organization, we kind of leverage some aspects. I think it was Travis that mentioned it to me. Aspects of Barack Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative in the States. This particular program is actually designed to like combat the persistent gaps faced by men and boys of color. They've made some fantastic progress, leading to partnerships with community, corporate foundations, philanthropic leaders, federal agencies, and all these partnerships that they've created are working to kind of expand opportunities to kind of tear down those barriers that negatively impact the likelihood of success for men of color and boys of color. And these programs are really essential and are encouraging sign for the next generation. So, and to me, that's really about legacy building, and that's exactly something similar that we want to be able to accomplish here with our group as well.
Quickly, I just wanted to add that I always go back to Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I first found out about Black Wall Street, it excited me to know that there was Black people and they had a downtown, and every shop was Black owned, and there was a tailor, there was a dentist, there was a pharmacist. They all wore very nice clothes, and it looked like they had no worries, and that's legacy. They burnt it down and they did what they had to do, but we still found out, and it still motivated us. So imagine Tulsa being that thing, and imagine if we can, once we get going, the impact we'll have when people look back. So that's kind of what we're going for. You're mute.
Awesome, guys. So this ties into my next question. What are the qualities you guys are looking for the men who might want to join TBC? I know there's so many things that you guys want to address, but what are the specific qualities that you guys would rate as the most important in order for somebody to join that legacy and to contribute to anything that you guys would like to contribute to the Black community and just to the team in general?
Yeah, I'll take a peek at that. I really like this question because that is something we spoke very passionately about in the early phase of the group. We're like, who's our target audience? Who do we want to represent? And as you can see, we have a pretty wide age gap between all of us. So age isn't really that important. So we can wipe that out. It does play a part because we still want people that are young, Black, and able, right? We want to use the wisdom that is passed down from older Black men to be able to push it to us, the younger Black generation. Now, the first thing is, number one is passion. We want to have members who are passionate about changing their environment, changing their lives, and setting new standards for their legacy. The word legacy plays such a huge part in this question because we we find so much value and we provide so much value to the next generation and to our own generation. And that even though I may not be Chuk's child, I could still learn from him. You know, I could still take pieces from his history and apply it to my own, apply his education to my own, apply his professionalism to my own. The second one is we want people that can relate to our message and our mission. When I say this, we want people that when we speak, although I mentioned it before, although we are different, we come from different backgrounds within the Black society itself. When it comes down to what do you want to accomplish and how do you view the other Black men, we want people to say, I view the other Black man, or I view my brother in this group. I view my brother with trust. I view my brother with respect. I view my brother as an educated, knowledgeable. I view my brother as somebody that I can work with as a team, and as well as view my brothers in unity. And last but not least, I think the most important part is for us, by us. We want Black men. We are Black men, and we are dedicated to the advancement of the Black people.
Nicely said. Nicely said. I agree. Nicely said. We actually have a question from one of our viewers, and I think this is, it can add on to what you're saying. So this is from somebody who said, many organizations for us melanated people seem to fail because of ego, ambitions, and internal competition. How does the Brotherhood seek to not repeat this?
I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love this question as well. Some of the chatter you hear is, you know, and I thought about this too. There's a lot of groups out there who are kind of doing the same thing. Sometimes they focus on professional, you know, work. Sometimes they focus on making money, real estate. That honestly, that never got my interest. Why this got my interest, or why we started this, is because it's only Black men, and we're doing something, and that thing is changing the perception of Black men by changing where we live and doing actionable. So we don't actually talk about much. We don't have talks about what happened in Buffalo. We don't really talk about politics or anything like that. The only thing we really talk about is, okay, what building can we buy, or what restaurant, what dividend should we go into, what ETF should we, you know, that's kind of how we talk. You know, how are we going to tackle, you know, how are we going to gain influence in City Hall? You know, we had a banana restaurant on Peachtree Island, and City Hall decided to do whatever they needed to do. And whether or not it was a good choice to remove bananas is not really the point. The point is we have no leverage in City Hall. This group is only to get leverage in City Hall, like this year. So we don't have meetings and throw events. What we're really trying to do is, as soon as we get about 10, 15 men together, we're gonna go to City Hall and speak to, you know, Mayor Watson or whoever we have to speak to. Maybe
not yet, Travis. Not yet. Easy.
So we're
not just yet. Like I think also in terms of, I think, you know, Travis, I think I definitely agree. Like we definitely want to have influence, but we also want to build community too, right? So we want to definitely have a community of brothers that are like-minded. And I think the question kind of talked about the egos. Like this organization is going to be a flat organization. Like there's no hierarchies. There's an organization committee. You know what I mean? I think obviously you see the players on the table, but when we're going out into the community, everyone has an equal voice. Everyone has equal say in terms of ideas and experiences. We definitely want to incorporate all that within the group in terms of where the direction needs to go. So I think that is one of the things that maybe might be a detriment to other organizations when you have the organization committee and you have the people talking somewhere, and then all the members are somewhere else. All our meetings are going to be with everybody. You're going to see all our paperwork. We're going to be very transparent about what we're doing. You're going to be involved in the decision-making process of where we're going to be. Either Travis was mentioning about taking investments, talking to whoever, also in terms of personal issues, like we have like family issues. If you have family issues, you can come to us. We can provide solutions, advice. I was talking earlier about our elders group. We want to be able to build an elders group of Black men that can kind of pass down that knowledge down to us as well. So these are things that we're going to be able to leverage within the group that may not be out there because all voices, all personalities and all ideas are accepted amongst this group. So that's how we kind of viewed the compilation of the group, and that's where we're trying to move forward. I don't know if that answers the question, but if anyone wants
to quickly, it's adding value. For me personally, I like to add value, and I think everybody around here likes to add value. So let's say someone was to come into the group, immediately we'd like to add value to that person, whether that is finding out, okay, well, what industry are you in? Well, you know what? I have somebody from this industry that may be able to help you out right now. And that's happened. It's happened, last week or last month where, I needed something done or I needed help somewhere, and somebody in the group was able to help me immediately. So there's a lot of value that's added, that's in this group immediately from you joining day one.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Really appreciate the audience coming in with some questions for the Brotherhood Coalition. That was a tough one, yo. That was a tough one.
Right. And I'd love to add.
We do see that sometimes in the community, right? Where things fall apart because we can't get along. We don't have a way of communicating our differences or our disagreement. But I think that what you guys have going for you is that code of conduct, which I've seen work in other areas. So that value system that you guys have put in place will help with that. And, it's not like you won't encounter issues. Obviously, you're going to encounter issues. But I think with that value system that you've put in place, you have some kind of framework to address those issues, to address, challenges that are coming up. So thank you for that question. I think it's an important one because we do want to see something like this survive and thrive. I also wanted to mention that I did see in the chat earlier that Sarah Nyango, who's one of the hosts of Black on Black, CHUO 89.1, she's like, yo, y'all can come through and tell the people about what you guys are trying to do. And as a community, I think that seeing something like this, something that has so much potential, like I listen to you guys and my heart is full because I can already see the potential for what you guys are doing, right? Like I can see this 10, 15, 20, 30 years, up the road. And I think as a community, we need to like rally around it and support you guys in whatever way we can. The elders group is an excellent idea because they've been there, done that. They've had this similar groups and things like that. Then they've seen some of the issues that have come about and they can help you guys kind of thwart that. So I love that. Finally, I wanted to ask you guys, I know you guys have a launch coming up. And so I want to get some details on that. What's happening with this launch? How can people get more information? I don't know who's taking that question, but
I could just let people know, and Travis, I'll let you tag on. So yeah, we're having a launch. It'll be May 28th, in-person launch, May 28th, from 6 to 8 at La Favorita. The address is 356 Preston Street. So yeah, this will be an in-person launch that we will be starting, and we're definitely hoping to see men come out, have some dinner, network, talk about next steps in terms of what we can do to grow this organization. So yeah, it's going to be a great night, and we're hoping to see some people come out. And Travis, you you're just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted everyone to make sure that they follow us on Facebook, the Brotherhood Coalition, also on Instagram. Same thing, the Brotherhood Coalition. We're going to have some adverts to just speaking about our launch so that you can have some more information. So yeah, just please follow us.
So you cut out just a little bit. So I just want to make sure. So they can follow you on Facebook, and we will put a link in the chat. We will put a link in the Facebook Live, and they can also hit you guys up on Instagram, right?
On Instagram, that's right. That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I don't see any other questions in the chat. And those are all the questions that we had for you guys.
I think Marco had a question though.
Oh, Marco, go ahead.
Or he had something that he wanted to say. I don't know if he wanted to chime in.
Yes, I actually wanted to say something, and it's going to be huge for us. We spent 6 months planning the development phase of this group. This speaks on how much we truly believe in each other, how much it pushes teamwork, unity, how much we want to provide value to the individuals that are looking for a space to be able to be open and to be able to want to change and create legacy. This is the legacy effect, and I want everybody to understand that ego, pride, and all of that does not exist in this group. The reason why is because there is a further advancement. There is a further goal than just today, tomorrow, or just money. This is about who we are. This is about what we represent. This is about our children. And that is why it's going to succeed.
Definitely.
Yep, very good.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there. I mean, even the good book says a good man leaves an inheritance for his child. And I mean, I think that what you guys are doing is definitely going to do that. And whatever we as YBP can do to continue this collaboration and support, I mean, we're all about that. We are all about that. So I wish you guys the best of luck on your launch. And yeah, I mean, Newman, you got this piece. You take it away.
Yes, thank you guys. Thanks, Ada, Marco, and Travis. Thank you for joining us today and allowing us to be the first to introduce the Brotherhood Coalition to all our viewers on Zoom and Facebook Live. Congratulations and all the best on your upcoming launch taking place Saturday, May 28th.
Yep.
We'd love to have you back sometime to hear about how things are going, what you're addressing, and how things are going smoothly, and what you're achieving and attaining. Thanks to all of you as well for sharing this space with us today, and we hope you enjoyed the event. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at Ottawa YBP. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.